Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network episode 9. Today we are talking about some shocking news from Mutable Instruments, which I'm curious to hear Howard's take on. And then we'll talk a little bit about some marketing stuff, some interesting things with Spotify transparency that they're doing. I'm Sunwarper, and with me as always is my Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How are you, man?
I'm good, mate. How you doing? You right?
I'm alright. I'm getting thrown off because I'm staring at the Streamlabs and there's a delay, so I'm seeing what should be me talking like currently, but it's behind and it's just throwing me off. But I'm good. How are you today?
I'm getting on. Yeah, it's been a busy week. It's been a busy week. Yeah.
What you been up to?
Well, everything gearing up. I've got a new release coming out in a week on Friday with Willowbrand.
Yes.
And we've been doing lots of visual stuff. It's all that, kind of made a video for it. All that marketing stuff.
Oh yeah.
Marketing stuff.
I thought that's my job. What are you doing?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you gotta do it.
Yeah, no, I know. KW is the title, right?
KW, yeah. It's 3 tracks. It was 4, but we've saved one for later in the year because we've got some other ideas.
Yeah.
Just 3 kind of like summery ambient bops.
Not bangers?
Well,
that's Howard's
ambient banger. That's Howard's thing. That's more of a Howard thing.
Yeah. I don't know. That one was kind of a banger though. I mastered those tracks. There was one that has some oomph to it. Was it Calm?
Yeah, we
I think.
Calm Complete. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
We started with doing. We wanted to make Space Wave, and it kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent.
Okay.
But we're happy where it turned out, and so it's a bit of a summery bop. It's for driving in the car when you're like heading down. Seeing as you on the West Coast as you're driving down.
I don't have a car at the moment, but it'd be nice.
Well, that's fair. But it would be nice. But that's what it's for. The people who do have cars.
That cars don't explode on them.
I mean, I don't drive, so I'm just gonna have to get on the tram and just kind of bop through the center of Prague.
I mean, there's things you can take that take you on journeys, right? With just sitting still. So I know you're an enthusiast of such kinds of travels.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Neither do I. All right. Well, anyways, also with us today is our friend and colleague Eon Lake. How you doing, Eon Lake?
Hello. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, happy to be here as always.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you. Usually we have a bit of time to chat before we go live, but today was a bit
it was chaos on the bridge, dude.
Yeah.
Curtis calls me on WhatsApp. I can't log in. Give me the damn password. I'm like, whoa, man, hold on. What is going on? Also, really quick, Bendu is in the chat. What's going on, Ben?
Hey, Ben.
Nice to see you. I hope you enjoy the show. Yeah, it's a bit of a truncated start. We have Michael.
Oh, and Shady Ridge. Sorry to cut you off, but hey, Josh, how you doing?
Shady Ridge as well. No, we're just explaining this. Like I say, Howard got here. We had problems with the internet. Michael's getting high on pens.
I wrote my notes in Sharpie and it just reeks.
I am currently broadcasting with 2 huffers.
It's not good, is it?
No. Fine. Well, let's get into the news. We've got some crazy stuff going on this week, right?
Yeah. What do you want to start with? There's a lot.
I kind of want to go with the Syntact.
You want to go with
because I've kind of flip-flopped on my take on it.
Have you? Have you?
So Michael's going to be me this week, isn't he?
No, I'm not ranting. I was going to rant about it, and now I've kind of had a different perspective. So
you had a road to Damascus moment.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, well, for those who don't know, let me just share my screen. Just to catch everyone up who doesn't nerd out on the news as much as we do.
Well, that's why we're here, right? To give you the info we're nerding about.
Exactly. So, Digitac have just brought out the brand new Syntact, and it does look pretty fucking cool.
It's pretty cool. It's like a Digitac shape and stuff, or Digitone. What's the FM one? It's a tone, right?
It's an exact copy of the Digitac.
Yeah, Digitac and really. Digitone. I think it is.
There's that function button which I like.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing is, the red instead of yellow, right? The interesting thing is, it's not in any way a sampler. It's a drum machine and synthesizer, and so
everything's internal.
Yeah. So what I was gonna let me put it this way. My original take on it was, well, that's really cool, but they missed a beat. or they missed a step not putting in some sampling functionality. You know, because like they could have combined. I kind of viewed it originally as the Digitac combined with the Digitone, that FM synth they make in that same box shape. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool because you could be like a groove box all in one, kind of like the Circuit or something like that. But there's no sampling functionality, but it's incredibly deep with what it does do. It's got, I think, 8 or 12 like digital machines, they call it, which are drums and synthesizers, things like that. And then there's 4 or 8 analog like synths and stuff like that. The workflow looks really cool. Like all the things on the screen are like gamified. Like when you raise a dial, it's like a video game changing things and stuff. So I was really disappointed that it didn't have that, but now I see that's really not what they were going for at all. That was just how I, like, when I saw the box, interpreted it, but it's really just a synth machine. But it's a really deep looking one.
Anything to rival the DFAM or something like that, because it's part analog, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 4 machines are analog and then 12 are digital, something like that.
It's 4 and 8. There's
there
12
we go.
machines.
Yeah,
it's 4 and 8. So it's 4 analog. There's 4 analog sounds, and then there's 8 digital, which they've created themselves.
Yeah,
and yeah, anything to, like you say, rival the DFAM. Like if you look at, I see it this is like the triumvirate for Digitac in the sense that you've got the sequencer itself, and then you've got like the Octatrack, for example. But then this is like a box within its own right. So it's kind of like pieces. You have to catch them all essentially.
Kind of doing different job, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Digitac will do sampling and audio playback plus MIDI, and this is more of a synthesis box, really, isn't it?
It's like a groove box without the sampling functionality. But I guess that's, if you combine the two, you'd really have something crazy. And then you put in an Octatrack or something, and if you could figure out that workflow, you'd be crushing it.
Yeah.
This is
Steve is in the chat as well. Hey, bud, how you doing?
All right, Steve. Nice to see you. Hopefully see you here soon. We'd like to know what you guys think about the new Syntac coming through. We've been talking about it on Discord, bits and bobs. I would, again, for me with everything, I would love it. I can't afford it.
Yeah, that's fine too. But it's really cool. And at some point, like, I'm wondering, would I want that or a Digitac? Like, if I had a choice. And I don't know. I'd probably go. If I had enough money to buy one, which one would I buy? I'd probably go with the Syntac, honestly, because I mean, I really love that SP workflow right now in terms of sampling. So plus the SP's like stereo for sampling, and it's got long playback times and things. So
yeah,
I think those two with like the Circuit would be an incredible setup. But I think the MIDI's only mono.
Sorry?
I think the MIDI in the Syntac is only mono. Like, you can't do polyphony. Like, each machine, you can only, I think. I could be wrong, but they have one machine that's a chord machine. And so you can set the chords you want, but you can change it based on an LFO. So you could do some really weird...
and it's
automating.
Probably going to have that step lock function changing thing that you can do on the Digitac.
Exactly, yeah, it has that. So you could do that with like the chord changes and stuff. So
on every
step. You could kind of get away with it. Bendu says the 3 Digi machines together would be a good dollar setup. That's true.
Yeah. Again, the triumphant, like you know, you've got all the places going through the same way.
And then you get the 3 Moog ones on the other side.
And put the Octatrack in there so you can just like swap and record and stuff. That Octatrack is a beast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's a bit old though. Yeah. But they've updated it to a degree and stuff. But
I feel like that'd be the next one. Version 2 kind of works, I see lots of setups with the Digitac and the Octatrack together.
Yeah.
The Octatrack kind of acts as like a mini mixer kind of thing.
There's some crazy stuff you can do with that slider. Like that Ricky Tinez does some... He'll record what he's playing into it and then slide back while he transitions and go... It's pretty cool, the stuff you can do with it.
I mean, it'd be a great thing to do. I mean, you only need one kidney, don't you? You don't need both.
Yeah.
Technically, yeah.
I mean,
unless something goes wrong.
But with inflation, how much is that kidney worth? I don't know.
That's a very good point. We'll have to see.
And with Electron keep making you bits of kit, you know.
I have but one kidney to give.
The kidney says what now, Howard?
The kidney market's really tanked.
It got flooded.
Flooded the market.
We'll see. I mean, I suppose the bright side of bringing out something like the Syntax is that the previous models will go down. Like, I mean, I don't know how much difference there is between, say, the original Octatrack and the second Octatrack, but like,
It is down a bit.
Is it down a bit?
You have to wait for everyone to get bored. You really do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but I don't know if like
the prices stay high anyway. I mean, I love them. They're like serious aircraft grade stuff, you know, with really good quality encoders. The kind of buttons you just want to hammer away on. It's really tactile little things.
Yeah.
Monkey see monkey like.
Yeah, exactly.
I love the clicky sounds too.
They've done such a good job on it. They seem to retain their value so well.
Yeah, but Josh is right. The Mark 1s of the Octatrack did go down when the Mark II came out, but the Syntax doesn't really replace the Digitact or Digitone, so I don't know if it would affect their market value as much because it's not like the Octatrack Mark II replaces the Mark 1. And really quick, Bendu says the Octatrack learning curve is scary to me. Dude, it looks so complex. Yeah. But I feel like once it clicks, there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. If you watch the like maestros of it, they do some crazy things with it.
It's like Atlas Castle, 59 Perlin, just within our community at least. The amount of variance that those guys come up with, and then the depths and kind of like the flashiness of what they do, it's really intriguing.
Yeah,
it's like I imagine it's like learning. For example, for me, it's like learning the Adobe Suite. Right? I'm completely separate, but it's a massive learning curve. Once you understand it, it's like boom, you've got it sorted. You know, like here in this instance, like you'd spend a lot of time sorting out. I mean, you must be still sorting out the SP, Sunwarper. You must be still kind of
I mean, I feel like I have a good grip on it, but there's still stuff that I've like barely touched the surface on with it. But like a lot of the resampling stuff I'm only just now getting into, but I definitely feel like I can use it and feel competent.
I like it because it makes me think about music differently.
Exactly, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just like bits of audio being stitched together, you know, not necessarily writing notes and so on, but capturing sounds and layering them directly. It's a kind of a different way of thinking about things.
Howard, have you tried syncing it with some other DAW stuff?
Not yet. No.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I've been doing with I put the circuit with it and send stuff from the circuit, and like I record things from the circuit into the SP, so it gives me more room for
each
stuff
pad's
to do.
On a channel, isn't it? It's got 16 MIDI channels, obviously, and 16 pads.
Yeah, well, so I'm not connecting the SP via MIDI. I'm just using it as like almost an audio interface / sampler. So I send the circuit and all of the circuit stuff, which would be the like TR-08 and the mini log, all of that goes into the SP, and then I can resample things in it, and that gives me more space on the circuit and things like that. But you could try like the MPC or did you get the tracker? I think you got the Polygon tracker, right? You could put that into it.
Of course he did.
Into it. Yeah, why'd I even ask? I mean, God. It's like, I'm just waiting till he goes, yeah, I bought the Syntax too.
Yeah, of course he did. Yeah. Next week, mate. We'll log on next week, and he'll have it.
We'll go, and Howard, how are you today? Oh, I bought the Syntax. It was great.
Nah, it's not going to happen.
I don't know.
Let's see what happens after the weekend, shall we? Let's see what happens. I'll see it when I believe it. But yeah, I mean that's always interesting. I mean, okay, so we're all pretty. What's the phrase? Stoked about that.
Yeah, it's a cool little thing.
Excited. How about a little bit of?
Let's go to a downer.
Let's more shocking news.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's really keep the algorithm in our favor. I found this and I. Purely because I want to throw it at you, Howard, and see what you have to say.
I'd like to hear Bendu's take too. If Bendu, if you're familiar with Mutable instruments, I know you have the modular and all that.
So this is our second piece of news for the week. That Mutable Instruments say that they won't develop any new Eurorack models, and that all existing ones will be discontinued, which is, as it says quite clearly in front of us here, the end of a modular era, or era, depending on how you want to do it. Seems one of the big dogs in terms of modular. Howard, do you want to take the reins on this one because you are the modular
one
man.
of the earlier ones as well? Yeah, I wasn't that surprised about it, knowing about her personal life, but it's a huge shame. I think I'm a fan. I always was a fan. there's a really nice kind of logic to the way that she designed modules, and I like the fact that there was always a hidden little Easter egg in them. They had some sort of hidden secret alternative mode. Like, for instance, Tides works as it's just it's like a 4-channel oscillator, but it will also do chordal patterns and splits and stuff. So it can operate as a voice or as a modulator.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something hidden in there. And I just like the simplicity of design, the way everything works so well. I mean, they've been used a lot, it's fair to say. I mean, it's like the pull stretch of the modular world as far as ambient's concerned. Clouds. Can you do ambient without clouds on modular? I don't know if it's allowed. There's probably a law against it. I mean, to temper it all, obviously, for some reason, she's a bit like you and Josh, in the sense that perhaps a bit of a hippie, and open sourced all of the code from the word go. So, right. There are copies of all of these modules, often shrunk to smaller sizes, to fit into racks better and so on. So I suppose in a way it's not going to disappear entirely, but the original and the full size factory produced proper models will. And that sort of inspiration, that spark of inspiration that started all this, will be gone. And it's a big shame. It is a big shame, but I'm sure she has her reasons. And
so is the company closing, like shutting down?
I expect so.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a massive. It's not like a. I mean, I understand.
No, it's just a real cottage little thing where she does a huge amount.
She does it all herself, or most of it.
So I mean, if she's been doing it for years, it might just be a time just to hang up, do something else with your life.
I think she wants to become less well known.
Right.
And go live life somewhere instead.
Wouldn't that be lovely? I mean, no one knows me, but I'd love to just go live somewhere. It'd be great.
Yeah. Bendy says, I was shocked by this news. I know nothing about her life, though. So I know Mutable Instruments and like clouds, as you said, and stuff, but I don't really know anything about her nor the company, but it's just a bummer. But that is cool that it's all been open source. So I guess because didn't you say that stuff was on like VCV Rack or one of those? Mm-hmm.
Like they've got their own modules in there too.
Yeah.
So. And on Softtube Modular. And some of the oscillator models are in the Micro Freak.
That was it too, yeah, okay.
And I mean, there are loads of sort of copy modules, like your Monsoon, a very popular Eurorack module, is basically clouds, but with some extra modulation and connectivity built in, and a shrunken size. I've got one of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame. It is a shame, but I guess things change, and at least it's an area where there's so many people doing so many wild and crazy things that I suppose you can take the loss a bit better.
If you're right in saying like everything's open source, I mean there is a lot in terms of. I don't buy modular simply because, as you know, because of the price bracket. But I do explore it and I do look into it and I keep up to date. Like from what I've seen, from my limited perspective of everything, from what you could do, say 20, 30 years ago up until today, there's so much more variance in modules, just what they do. So even that in its own right is creating a new form of what modular stands for, what modular is, and it's just it's. I mean, that's I suppose what we can take from it in that sense is that it's ever expanding, which is never bad.
I mean, Dieter Doepfer came along and created a format, a size, a power model, and a case kind of, and how it would scale and so along, and then everybody else piled in, and sky's the limit, really. It started off with traditional synth parts like VCOs, VCAs, filters, and it's expanded on from there. So you got your meat and potatoes ones, and then you've also got just wild and crazy ones that do things that are not easy to name or explain.
That's
They're trying to tell you what it is and what it does.
Right?
Can get pretty wild and crazy.
Oh, that could work. I mean, this will probably sound more to you two than me. Bendu said, "I love my grids, but not really loved any of the other modules I've owned." How many times have you watched a Tune the Rings tutorial? I mean, that means something, right?
He said so many. So yeah, I don't really know any of the stuff. I'm assuming grids and rings are both mutable instruments.
They will be, yeah.
Yeah. So Ben, are they complicated? Like they take a while to learn? Or Howard, if you have any mutable instruments?
Rings is a modulator, so you
is it
either
a ring
run things
mod?
through it, or it does like couple of strong synthesis, which sounds like bowed or struck instruments. So traditionally, it either sounds like chimes or plucks.
Interesting.
So if you hear little plucky noises on any of my stuff, it's rings.
Oh, do you have it? You have rings?
Yeah.
Of course he does.
Well,
Again.
Why'd I ask? I don't know, man.
It's a very, very common module, and my modular rack is pretty. There's nothing particularly special in there. There's a few little oddities, but there's a lot of cliches in there as well. But everything's in there for a reason, and I will defend it if anyone wants to take the mick out of me.
No,
for being a modular cliche.
No, not at all. What I would like to do at some point, I would like to have a session where we basically have a list of every single piece of equipment that's ever been made in the history of mankind, and then we could just tick them off.
That'll be episode 50. When we hit the 50 mark, that's all the episode's gonna be. You guys can hold us accountable if you want. We'll just have a list. We'll need your help making a list, but we'll just ask Howard for the whole episode. Do you have this? You have this?
Top quality content.
The question is, what's the percent that he has or had owned out of all the things?
I mean, speaking of, we're nearly at double digits, so I mean, we're on the right track. We're on our way, should we say? We're on our way. Yeah, so that's the sad news from there. I tell you what, we're getting on for 8:30 my time, 11 your time, Michael, and
Wait, is it 8 or 7? Oh, 7 UTC, that's right. Dude, don't confuse me, man. I've just barely reached...
Man, he's been on such a roll.
I've just barely reached saying 11 and 7. Do not throw me off.
Okay. So we're getting up to 7:30 UTC.
There we go.
This is the halfway through the show. We've made it a thing where we bring, our patrons have access to this Google Meet. Yeah. And we allow, we don't allow, if they want to come in and have a chat.
Invite.
There we go.
Invite. Yeah, sorry.
Welcome.
English teacher, Josh. We invite them in to come and have a chat. And Steve is in particular Hydrofighter.
Yeah, and really fast, if you'd like to join the conversation, you can head over to Audionautic or patreon.com/Audionautic. And I believe the link is in the description. It starts at $2, and we have a bunch of other features and things like that. So if you'd like to join, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, we could go on a cliche about the price of a cup of coffee, but I think that's been done to death.
Yeah. You get coffee for that.
If you're getting coffee for $2, that's impressive.
Yeah, it is. We thank the patrons. You guys allow us to do this more and more, and so we really appreciate your support. And if you fancy it, as Michael said, hop over to Patreon and make a pledge. For now, let's bring in Hydrofighter.
Yeah.
He's in the chat. The man himself.
Yo,
how you doing?
What's up, man?
He appeared out of his icon that time as well.
Hey, guy.
How you doing?
What's up,
how you doing,
Steve?
Steve? What's new?
It's been one of those weeks where you struggle with songs, you go back, rewrite them, they come out better.
There you go.
Ever had that happen?
Ever have that happen? Has it not? It always happens. You go, this is crap. Take a break, and now it's slightly less crap.
Yeah, that's very forward. Are you working on anything? Is it an album Hydrofighter? Anything specific? Anything external?
No, it's Hydrofighter stuff. It's just I had this happen to me a couple months ago too, but it comes out better. I just feel happier about it.
Good.
When you just fight with the song, it got all the sounds right, but it's like something isn't jiving here. It's not mixing with the rest of the songs and blah blah blah. So go back to the drawing board, restructure, bada bing, bada boom.
There you go.
I knew you guys had that problem.
Yeah.
I think everyone
time.
probably does.
I just don't have the solution that you do.
Yeah. You seem very much
I'm
like
still there.
you like to very much deal with it, Steve. I've been sitting on my album now for about 18 months, and it just keeps getting bits, just keep getting rewritten and rewritten.
Oh no, it's just Chinese democracy.
It is, but I'm hoping it's going to be a bit better than that. I'm hoping.
Oh.
I mean, I'll have to give it to you guys to find out, but I mean, we'll have to see. But yeah, so I mean, that's a
title.
Wow. Well, yeah, that could work. Democracy of China. That could be quite fun.
Well, how about that round robin? Let's just segue over there since we've got our patron over on here.
Yeah. All right. So round robin. I was talking with my colleagues at work, and we were talking about how easy it is to discredit ourselves as producers and say, for example, this is shit. Let's throw this away. This is not good. However, we're less attentive to the idea of lifting ourselves up and recognizing where we are good and where we are actually pretty cool in what we do, right? Maybe I'm one tiny corner of the universe, but that's kind of I sit very much in that boundary, right? So I just wanted to kind of get an idea and go around the table, at the proverbial table, and see where we think that we are really good at our craft, what we think is particularly good about what we do, and then where we are lacking and where we need to come up and where we need to improve, either for the fun of it or because we're aiming towards a goal. That kind of thing. Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
So, do you want me to lead the way, or Michael? Do you want
you lead the way? You thought of it. You're the first victim of it.
Yeah.
I'm the first victim.
Get that shovel.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm gonna start with the negatives because for me that's so much easier than dealing with the positives. But self-deprecation. The idea of for example, I am incredibly ill-disciplined when it comes from moving from the creative side of things to the mixing side of things. I have got so many unfinished projects. I've got so many unfinished bits where literally I've just like, okay, I'm going to try and make a trumpet sound today out the simpler in Ableton. And I've logged on, I've saved the project, I've got it all sorted, hit a few notes and gone, all right, I'm done. I'll come back to it. I never fucking do because I love that original creation. But when it comes to actually synthesizing, and this is why my album's taking so long, because I look at the mixes and go, I'll do it tomorrow. And I never do. However, at the same time, I feel, at least, I have a great idea of just confidence of just walking into the studio and just starting playing. As in, I can just make the notes. As in, if you go around, so you go from the monologue to the Ultranova to the Launchpad when it comes back from the...
So you don't have a problem starting?
Yeah. I don't have a problem starting. I've
your problem is also your good thing. You have no problem starting. You have a problem finishing.
Well, this is it. Yeah. I can never finish off my project. It's all about that dopamine hit of when you create something is somewhat powerful, believe it or not. And I really struggle to go past that stage where I kind of want to sit down. I love when I get into it. This is the thing. When I get into it, I love mixing. Like when we do stuff for the label for Audionautic, like I love it. I love mixing and I love getting into it. But my own stuff, I just want to create and then. So that's me.
There you go,
Michael.
All right, let's see. This was thrown on me in the morning, so I didn't have time to think. But I know from my album's long development cycle in hell, I tend to get like hyper focused on being critical on certain aspects of like a mix or something, to the point where I just get lost in it and keep making changes until it's like you're making such incremental changes, it's not doing anything. But because you're so lost in it, it sounds like these massive changes or something, when it's like, if you just stop, take a week off and come back, you'd be like, I don't even notice this issue that I was like, this is so obvious and this and that. It's like trying to find a balance though between trying to be critical, because if it's only you working on the music, you have to have that critical ear to try and cut out some unpleasant sounds and things like that. But getting too lost in it, or just getting like into that endless cycle of like, edit this, now I gotta edit this and edit this. And so that's my thing.
You need to be detail focused, though. You just can get too detail focused.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's good to be focused on the details, but there's too far. There's going too far.
You can't see the wood from the tree, so to speak.
But that's the experience kicking in, is knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
And when, you're going from the positive side of that into the more negative side of it, or the less productive side of it. Where it's not really giving you anything anymore.
And I have found...
You've done the detail as well.
Yeah. And I have found trying to just call something done quickly has helped a lot. Like with Future Fade, or with some of these other songs I've been doing. What, Josh?
Well, like putting a deadline on something, you mean?
Yeah, either putting a deadline or just like... a couple days ago, I just had this guitar idea. I was listening to a song from, I think it was Perry Frank. And I was like, oh, that's a cool little idea. Like the type of sound. And I was like, I want to try to do something kind of similar but different, and then it ended up being completely different. Like, it was this guitar arpeggio, and I just started adding things on top of things, and I was like, okay, I did this in a day, it's done. I'll do one more day of mixing and maybe add a couple overdubs of stuff, and then it's done.
And or like go back and do 6 or 7 different types of mixes, maybe then put it in.
No, it's done. Like it's going to be the Glass Taurus B-side.
Did you not post something on our Discord about submitting an updated version of a track?
Yes, but that was different. That was different. So
post-release.
No. It's no. It was the release that went on Bandcamp, but it was too late to have put it on Spotify. So for the next release I'm doing, that updated version is on it. But what's interesting about that was...
Is it called Sunwarper's Bandcamp Guitar Mix?
No, there's no remix. It's not a remix. That's what's cool. Is I was always told when you're putting redone versions of a song up again on Spotify or streaming, you have to have a new ISRC code. That's not true. I risked it. Was like, I'm just going to see what happens and put the same ISRC. And it worked. And so it took it. The only difference, though, is that the guitar parts are about 2 dB louder. So it's really not a change. I just noticed before the Bandcamp release, I was like, I want these guitars a little louder. So I just put them up a little bit. Anyways.
Is that the universal sound for when you bump by 2 dB?
I think so.
Yeah, if you don't oil your faders enough.
Yeah, it squeaks. The digital squeaks in Logic. Anyways, on the the plus side, or the thing I think I'm strong at, I'm always trying to learn, which is also to my detriment because I want to go back and change things. But I always want to just like do new styles, learn different things, like learn the SP and do this and that. And I think that really helps when it comes to getting outside the box of writing, because you just want to try and do something new every time.
I like that. I mean, that's good. It's very honest in that front. Steve, I saw your hand go up a second ago. What was going on?
There was a eat.
Oh, I see. Right. I didn't hear the sound, so I got confused.
Yeah, if you don't do the sound, it doesn't count. That's the thing. That's why I had to do the sound.
Kit's not working, dude.
Before we go to Howard, there is Shady. It's just said something in the chat. And Michael, you're a lot better reading out the chat than I am.
All right. It just popped up on I'm on OBS, so I just see it. He says, I get the same when creating my solo work. I start second guessing myself 3/4 of the way through the project. Yep, that's me. I then tell myself this is a moment in time and should embrace what the sound is now. Yeah, that's true.
Yes. Now
that's a great...
I've told myself many times.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. This is a window. This is just a moment in time. Yeah. This is what I'm doing now. It is what it is.
I feel like I should screenshot that and then put it on my
it's
wall.
your mantra.
And just make that my just make Josh my new guru.
Just put a little sticky note right on your laptop or something that's just like, it's a moment in time. Embrace the sound now.
Ask him to record it and you can listen to it on a loop when you sleep.
Yeah, there you go.
Shady, please record it and send it to me. Thank you. Please.
That's great though, Shane. That's true. Like very true.
Like it.
Yeah.
Howard.
No, Stephen.
Stephen, sorry.
You want me to go first, Howard?
Oh wait, quickly. Shady Ridge says it's gonna cost you for that recording.
We'll throw it up. We'll throw it up on Bandcamp. You can download it from there. name your price.
Claim your price. $50. Well, to be fair, for Josh's voice, I'd happily pay 1,000. Oof, that'd be nice. So we'll see. Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Hit me.
I think for me, it's the weak point is kind of getting out of the rut of doing the same process every time you do something new and trying to experiment things. I have a tendency to use these loops and listen to loops over and over and over, and not think about something as through composed as I would like to be. I listen to people like Gary Reese, and he's just got this harmonic structure that just evolves through the whole song. And I'm just like, wow, that's amazing. But I also love that kind of vamp vibe of just hanging on one note or one chord, the old Pink Floyd type of stuff where you let the sound evolve. But I'd like to challenge myself a little bit better. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon to do something a little bit more through composed than just kind of looping and adding texture and removing texture. I think, when we did the Resistor album with Kindly Spoken Thieves, one of my goals with that was to lay back and kind of play more of a session musician type of guy and not really add so much on top, but pull stuff back. And I don't know if I hit that goal with that, but I learned a lot through that process going forward. Right?
I mean, that's fair,
yeah.
I think I had a confidence to it as a result because it wasn't trying to sort of do something every 4 bars just to keep you interested or whatever. It was like, this is the vibe and it's sitting here and it's going to vibe like this until I decide otherwise. Right. It's got that confidence where it's not, it's not going, listen to me, don't turn it off, don't turn it off. It's, look, stuff's going to happen. Look, we got cake later. Come on. You know what I mean? It just...
I think that's with every release, though. I just feel like by the time I'm done with it, I just want to be done with it, and I don't want to look back.
I think everyone gets like that, man.
You don't really realize it until like 6 months later or a year later. Like, wow, I did really pull something out of what I was doing with that, and I know I don't want to do that again. Type of stuff. Yeah. So,
what about the strength?
I think the strength is actually the opposite of Curtis, of being able to complete songs. So
if you guys work together, you just crush it. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Let's do it, Steve. Let's do it.
I mean, Shady Ridge is like, don't steal Hydro Fighter from me.
I would never do such a thing.
I don't try to force it or anything like that, and I don't try to get a song done within a certain amount of time. I stage all these things up, and then once these group of songs are ready, then I go through and get my stuff done.
Interesting way to do it.
Yeah, and then I go back and nitpick it. But we've talked about all of this stuff all the time, where we second guess ourselves, just like what Josh was saying in the chat. Where I was like, yeah, I feel like I should just scrape this whole thing, and then you take a day or two away from it, you come back, your ears are fresh, and you're like, yeah, let's go again. We can do this.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
See, that's where Josh should be in a strong position, because he's got so many ideas that he's generated that he hasn't finished. So when you get to that point where you go, I'm not quite sure where it's going to go, what I do is I just switch to another song, and he's got a million.
Yep. A million.
Between. You just need to make sure that you file them, speed, key, so that...
No, make it difficult, like a surprise. You just open one and be like, I don't know what it's going to be. It's like...
you do that too.
What even is a key? What even is a key?
Yeah.
Use that AI thing we were talking about a few weeks back.
Oh, the composing thing that composes? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
there you go.
It's interesting. Like, when I was working with Spectre, because we got Psychonautic Volume 2 coming out, we were like exchanging stuff. I was like, bro, what's the key and what's the BPM? He was like, I don't know. I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, excellent. We'll see how that goes. We have to see. Howard, last, but definitely.
I don't really know how to answer this one, to be honest. I could probably talk your ears off, but I won't give you an answer.
No, we got to switch to the marketing soon. No, I'm just kidding.
I know what sounds I want to create, and I know how to get them. I think I'm getting a lot better with synthesis, and processing was never an issue with me. I tend to do this wall of sound thing quite a lot, even with the more down-tempo stuff, lots and lots of layers. I have to hold myself back a little bit. Sometimes it turns to soup and it's just crap, and something, it needs definition, it needs shaping, and that's cool. So I think I managed to keep it under control. It is something I fight against a little bit, and I tend to write things vertically a lot like that, which irritates me slightly. I kind of like it, and it's kind of me, but at the same time, it's like, all right, well, do something else. I think I managed to do that on the last album, and I will be looking to do that again on the next one. But I want to try and I want to do more with evolving tonality in a sound. Like, you know, what it's doing is maybe essentially the same, a bit like Steve was saying, but the tonality of it's changing maybe as it evolves. So there's more movement in there. I mean, all these things have got knobs on. You can change things while they're playing. You know, that's kind of the point, isn't it? To try and stop things from being quite so static. I want the next one to be more fluid and evolving and less sort of defined blocks. And less tall, longer. More horizontal, less vertical. Does that make any sense to anyone who isn't me? I don't know. But...
Yeah, totally.
Well, there's a whole thing about like vertical versus horizontal composing. I think I talked about this. It might have been with the Frequency Control Center interview we did, but like Boards of Canada talks about it, where the vertical is like you just always have these things. They're consistently recurring at either a certain interval or, you know, every end of the bar. But horizontal would be something where you just use it once. You know, like you just have this, like Howard, I know you like to do those, like mangle up a sound and just put it in a transition from one bar to like the chorus or something. That would be, if you just use it once, that's like an example of like a horizontal composing style where it's like popping in and then it, you know, it's gone. And I love that because then it makes that part so special that you want to hear the whole song again because you want to hear that part again, you know? Like if you can make that part really something special.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to create a bit more space as well.
Well, if you're going to be evolving your synths, you need that space. You need you need the clarity of the change of those synths to come out clearly, right?
Yeah. Let's see if I manage it.
I'm sure you will.
Wall of sound.
I know you will.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll all get there in the end. We're all walking each other home, as Ramdas would say. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. We'd like to know what you guys watching/listening to this have, your strengths and weaknesses. Like I say, the idea behind this is to kind of recognize not just where we need to work on ourselves, but also to boost ourselves up and remind ourselves that, you know, obviously we don't know everything in this world, but we are pretty damn good at what we do. And that's kind of like the whole message behind the thing. There was a smirk from Michael as if to say, I know how good I am. And
no. I was just thinking maybe we should all give each other some feedback of what we're good at, and that's what made me smile. But no, and I was smiling at that quote because you always quote them. You always quote Ramdas.
I'm always quoting who now?
You're always quoting, what is it, Ramdas?
Oh, yeah. Ramdas.
Yeah, you're always quoting him.
I love Ramdas.
I know.
So yeah, it's cool. No, okay. So without much further ado, it is Michael's time. It's a segment that we've been carving out the past couple of weeks. Michael, tell us all about it.
Yeah, so I got 3 things. You guys can tell me which one you want me to talk about first. Something interesting I learned about, I guess, promoting your music on Spotify in terms of like the difference between premium users and free users. This whole new advertising campaign thing you can do through SoundDrop, teaming up with this company called Found.e. And then also this masterclass, in quotes, that Spotify put on where they talked about their whole new transparency project, what's called Loud and Clear. So you guys tell me which one you want to start with.
I'd vote for the first one.
The free versus premium? Okay, this was interesting. I just saw a video on it. Does anybody want something different first? Do we have a little competition, or I'll start with that one?
No arguments.
Okay, so
this is Loud and Clear, right?
No, this is the free thing. There's nothing video-wise to share. It's just something I saw.
I was invited to Loud and Clear and didn't bother going, so...
It's interesting to see. We'll go over it in a second. But so the free thing, I was watching a video. I think it was Andrew Southworth. He's got good content about like marketing and things like that for musicians. And he was talking about free users can't on mobile can't play a select song. Like you can't choose a song. You can't go to like my page and go, I want to listen to Arctic Horizons. You can only listen to radio or a shuffled playlist. But if you so if you see a lot of plays on radio, you're seeing plays from radio when you look at your Spotify info. Most likely a lot of those people are probably free users that are just hitting play. Right. And then the other thing though is if you notice what I said about you can shuffle play a playlist. So he recommended this is Sunwarper, this is Eon Lake, this is Curtis, this is Hydrofighter playlist where you can curate like what song is first. If you've got a new song, you could put that at first because I guess as a free user, you could select a song to start on a playlist and then it'll then shuffle. So if you really want to push like a new single, you'd send like when you're promote the playlist or do both, right. Promote the single and the playlist. So I haven't tried it yet. I just saw it today. And I mentioned it to Josh. So Audionautic is going to make some playlists for our artists and stuff like that. But I'm curious to see like when you're promoting, would you want to promote a playlist or would you want to promote? I know we usually promote Bandcamp, but when you're promoting streaming and stuff, it's an interesting idea of pushing a playlist rather than a single. Because then also, if someone likes a song, they could just stay on it and listen to other songs, and you're getting repeat listens.
It makes sense. It would devolve away from the idea of the single, which is, I mean, it's something a bit of a bugbear of mine. The idea of like if you want to explore a new sound, either someone or like a certain genre, then playlists are the best way to go. Like, the psytrance community, for example, there's just every type of psytrance and there's a playlist for it, so you can just explore. It's wonderful. And that makes a lot of sense to me. So I mean, it makes sense that they're also pushing it because they love their playlist, they get money from.
This is only for free. Just as a paid user, and on desktop as a free, you can play whatever you want. It's just mobile.
Oh, so it's only mobile.
It's just only mobile. Yeah, it's just mobile. Because I have a free account. I think the Audionautic one's a free account. We do the playlists on, and you can listen to any song, and all that, and it's fine. But if you were to do it on mobile, no. But it was interesting, even just learning about if you see a lot of plays from radio, most likely you're getting free users. So maybe it would be a good idea to put a playlist so that they could then choose a song rather than having to just hope to get your song. Because radio isn't always going to be you either. It's other artists as well, which is cool. But if you're trying to play if someone's trying to play your music, then you'd want to give them your music, not other artists.
Yeah, man, totally. I'm game. I mean, that could work. So tell us about found.ee then.
Yeah, so we use Sounddrop when we're putting our artists through. It's cool because it used to be free, which was really nice. Now it's $1 per track for distribution. And so they've been teaming up with people. I believe Sounddrop is owned by CD Baby as well. But this is this website called found.ee. They do these ad programs where I guess they can get you on like Pitchfork, Billboard, these big websites and stuff. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of paid advertisement. I remember having tried it a long time ago, and it just doesn't seem to do much. And why trust us to set up your ad campaign? They say like, oh, we were marketers for like Linkin Park and this and that, and like, yeah, that's cool. I like that it's offering this ability to be on those websites. I'm sure it's kind of pricey. I didn't look at the pricing, but it's cool that it's offered. That's why I wanted to bring it up. If anybody does want to do it, that's one way to do it. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think in general, just about like paid advertisement. I mean, there's a difference between like Facebook ads and then trying to just advertise on websites.
Wow.
Josh seems to be very opinionated. But Howard,
I had an opinion about the other one, so I'm gonna let someone else speak on this.
Everything that I've read on the subject seems to give me the impression that it's more important to be able to identify and who your audience is.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because if it's not well targeted marketing, you might as well not bother.
Yeah.
So especially if you're paying for it, then that's going to be the same thing. So all the things that I've read are about how you can use the tools at the disposal to actually try and identify people who would be interested in hearing, so that you're not ramming it down anyone's throat.
Yeah, that's definitely the benefit of like a Facebook ad compared to these websites.
Yeah.
I mean, the website, first of all, a lot of people are probably using ad blockers. so it's not going to even be showing up. So you're spending money for
nothing. It feels a bit scattergun, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then not only that, but like Billboard or Pitchfork. I mean, if that's not your audience, you're just gonna get junk clicks, right? If you get any clicks. So.
Yeah, or I mean, I also remember reading something about reviews and people demanding Pitchfork reviews of a label, a small indie label, and so on. It's like, well, what good is a Pitchfork review if they absolutely rubbish your album? You know?
Yeah.
This is it, isn't it? Yeah. Like, I mean, everything. Like, okay, so we have the tools for marketing that we need to do, but again, like you say, Howard, like understanding who your target audience are and knowing where they come from. I mean, that's the first principle. Like and
you're not going to convince any outliers until there are some people who are already convinced, right? Who can make a noise on your behalf or lend credence to the things that you do. And then maybe other people who might not have been swayed otherwise will think, oh, everybody's really into this. What's it all about? And, you know, then you maybe start picking up outliers, but you're not just going to get out there and start winning people over with your amazing music that's like nothing anyone's heard before.
Yeah.
Are you doing any space skiffle or?
That would be amazing. Space skiffle.
Shady Ridge says he agrees 100% with Howard. Yeah, I think we probably all do. Steve, do you have anything you want to add?
No, not really. I completely agree with Howard.
Howard's the bastion of knowledge on that one. I think.
I don't really think about the marketing aspects so much as where Shady Ridge is doing it a little bit more, but
we do bits and bobs.
I'm curious. Either Curtis, Howard, it sounds like not Steve, but Shady Ridge, or even Bendu if you're watching still. Have any of you guys tried Facebook ads, like / Instagram ads?
Yeah, for a bit.
Yeah.
We're trialing it with. Okay, we're trying it with J-Bell, and the idea is that you do a campaign like running up to a release, which works quite nicely. But I have to talk to you about that. I think it's quite interesting.
I think I'll bring something to the table next week about it because I saw something interesting about ads and learning how to do it a little more properly.
On Facebook?
Yeah, but it's not just Facebook. It goes to Instagram as well.
Oh, right.
There's a whole thing.
Yeah.
PVC do it quite well. They've got a very good kind of like slick kind of way of doing it.
Yeah.
Howard, do you do Facebook ads?
I have done in the past, but no, it's the short answer. I had a strategy that I was going to deploy, which means running testers and looking at what types of people actually watch it, and then trying to find other ways of linking that sort of person. Because Facebook's all about their data, right? It's their business. They collect all of this information, and that's their gold mine. They're not going to give it to you, but there are ways that you can use that information and go, right, okay, find me more people like this.
Yeah.
And they will do that. And they won't tell you who they are or anything like that or give you the information, but they will give you the reach to that type of person and so on. So it's about being able to get that information to work for you. And it's something that I'd kind of meant to get around to doing and haven't yet.
Well, if you guys are game, I'll bring up some topics next week about just that, like utilizing the info in a way that works. Bendu, real quick, says, I haven't tried any ads, and Shady Ridge says, no luck and not a fan. Yeah, I had a lot of luck with it once, and I couldn't repeat it. And this was like in my post-rock music stuff. And then I am curious to try it. The reason I've been thinking about it is for my next release, Farther, because it has vocals. I was thinking of doing, when we do the lyric video, taking a bit of that and making like a advertisement that, and also a performance one, doing ads like that, because I want to see like what resonates with people more, like seeing lyrics or seeing a performance, things like that. But that'll be in late May, so I won't have anything to report about that till later.
Mid May.
May 20th. That's late May.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a question. Do you consider May 20th mid or late May? Let us know in the comments and or chat. I count that as late May, but I guess if you're thinking it releases on the 18th, that still kind of constitutes mid-May for the Bandcamp release.
The Google Calendar is my Bible, as you are all very well.
Oh, yes.
So make it work. Yeah, I've got to finish that lyric video. That's my job. Thanks
We
for the
were
reminder.
5 minutes late, so I think we should talk about the Loud and Clear.
Yeah,
really
Loud and
fast,
Clear.
because this is actually pretty interesting. Because I know a lot of us aren't fans of Spotify, and rightfully so, but they're supposedly trying to be more transparent in their presentation. I'm going to be off of my OBS screen because I want to look at this on my thing. So if the thing changes or anything, just let me know. But so this page that I showed Josh and he's pulled up, this is supposedly them being transparent with like where the money's going and things like that. You can see 2020 they did $5 billion. Yeah. But there's some interesting stuff.
It's not me. Was it you, Steve?
Say streaming revenue in 2021 alone exceeded total industry revenue in each year from 2009 to 2016. For the first time, over 1,000 artists generated over $1 million on Spotify. Over 50,000 artists generated $10,000 from Spotify alone. Major record labels earned over $4 billion in profit in 2021, driven by streaming. This is number 5, Josh. I don't know if you're following along with me. Number 6, I can't see, so that's.
Oh yeah, I don't know where they are.
Oh, you're not on the. I sent you in the chat. Go to the chat.
Yeah, no, I'm on it.
Yeah, right at the top. See those 7? Just slide across to the right.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so go to number 6. For the second year running, Spotify paid out more than $1 billion to publishing rights holders. This one's interesting, number 7. The industry at the height of the CD era favored the top 50 artists twice as much as today. That's an interesting little tidbit. Over 28% of artists who generated over $10,000 self-distribute to Spotify. So they're claiming that those major labels aren't getting a cut of that. I don't know. Artists can go from zero to career faster than ever, powered by streaming. That seems like a...
you can go viral quite easily.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that like a studied result, but whatever. 34% of artists who generated more than $10,000 on Spotify live in countries outside the top 10 music markets. That is one cool thing, I guess, the globalization of it, and that you can access other markets, right?
Yeah, completely. And all at the same time, which is, I mean, that is...
Get fleeced in more countries than ever before.
Yeah.
Oh, not fired.
Well, yeah, like, we know you're not a fan of Spotify. I just thought, I always say, it's good to know all these different things that are out there and how they're working.
I love the Spotify.
At least they're claiming to be transparent, which is cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see those profit margins.
Yeah,
this seems that sounds a bit like corporate justification to me.
Yeah, I agree. But
some of the things that have been leveled at them by some of the legal action and broken record and all the rest of it.
So Taylor Swift made $1 million last year. That's chump change to her. I mean, the rest of us are like, oh, well. I guess I missed out on that.
Yeah,
but this is it. At the end of the day, like we all know, coming from the producer's perspective, I mean, we know that Spotify is the enemy. For the consumer, who is the majority of human beings, it is the best thing since, well, LimeWire, basically. It's a horrible, fickle thing.
Yeah.
And as indie musicians, it just screw us over.
Yeah, and like Bendu says,
a lot of discoveries happen.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Too hard on
really
them.
fast, as
they
Bendu
did what
says.
They were supposed to do.
Hold on, Howard. One sec. As Bendu says, he says, "Is 10K a good living though?" And that's a really good point to what Josh is saying with these independent artists. But like Josh kind of is alluding to, it's just part of the discovery. I'm not saying it's justified in 10K. It should be more, with how they pay out. But it's just one way that you can get people to see you and hopefully move them to Bandcamp or something like that, or live stuff or things like that. Howard, what were you saying? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can't remember, actually.
You were saying it stopped piracy, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they
stopped
people from pirating music. By
At least you're getting 5 cents.
Nothing.
Instead of nothing.
I mean,
I like
it
that people go, oh, right then.
All right.
They pay a few quid. As long as I have millions of albums for it.
I liken it to heroin, basically.
Jeez.
I don't enjoy it that much.
It's the try before you buy, isn't it? It's ridiculously cheap, like you say. It's just like, oh yeah, go on now, I'll stick it in my arm, it's fine. And then you get hooked on it, and before you know it, you want to more, and then you sign across the bank.
Comeback, don't they?
Exactly. What I really would like to see happen, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, probably about a month now at this point, the Epic Games taking over Bandcamp, I'd like to see more integration. If I can put a link to my Bandcamp on my Spotify, I will be the happiest musician this side of the 21st century.
I want to get my
Even
tracks on GTA
Well, this is the other side
on the
of it.
radio in the car.
That could work. What are you going to say, Steve?
Right, that's it. I'm out.
No, that could... We can make it work. What are you going to say, Steve?
I had nothing. There's a one little punchline thing. It doesn't work anymore because we're already past that part of the conversation.
Oh, that's a shame. That's all right. We'll get there. Is there anything more on the marketing side of things, Michael? You can tune in next. We'll go for now.
You can hear it on Spotify if you want to hear more of it.
Well,
and nobody gets paid.
It's funny you should say that. Yeah. Thank you, Steve. Well, Spotify is part of their infinite glory and amazingness. No, I'm being facetious. They've created a place where they've started doing video podcasts, which is the format of this show essentially, and our new show Binary Stars, where they're kind of fusing video, discussion, talking, and music.
Yeah.
And so we are working our way towards it. There's a little bit of stuff that we need to do to kind of make it work, but essentially these shows will be going up to Spotify.
Yeah.
And they will be in like traditional. This is a live show, obviously, but they will be going up to Spotify because
as videos, which is cool.
They'll be dropping me for that bit.
No. We'll put up the past ones. It's all good. But
just redacted.
Just mute him, a big black screen, redacted, and then when it's us, comes back. So Spotify is. Bendu says I'm muted. Am I still muted? I was earlier, but. Okay, good. Yeah. Sorry, there's a delay when the chat pops up on my OBS. But yeah, so Spotify just is now letting, I guess, everybody or more people do video podcasts rather than just, I think Joe Rogan was one of the first ones and they were rolling it out slowly, but now I guess everybody can do it. So we're planning to get ADSNs up on there because previously we had light speeds and all that, but now we're going to get ADSN up there, so expect that soon. It'll also be.
God rest its soul.
Yeah. R.I.P. to Lightspeed, but it may come back at some point as like a shorts or something.
We'll see. Well, yeah, I mean that's what we're planning. We always have so many plans.
Yeah,
like
but it's
like
hard.
the ADHD millennials we are. We're like, where do we start? Where do we go? Where are we going? What are we gonna do?
Yeah, it takes time to get it rolling out, but we've got ideas. But right now, ADSN and binary stars are the main focus, and I mean. To a degree, the Lightspeed info is kind of put into ADSN. It's just now live, and we get to have fun chats with everybody. So
just evolving.
Yeah, just evolved.
We're just evolving.
It's like a Pokemon. It went from Lightspeed to ADSN.
One of these days, those memes that I make for Pokemon evolving, they'll hit with someone. And
I know. When you put that Pokeball as a profile picture, and like no one got it.
It's fine.
I got it. That's what mattered.
Well, we had previously talked about it, so that makes sense. But
I would have gotten it. I mean,
we'll see. We'll close that marketing strategy, and we'll close on that one. We thank you guys for coming in. We're a little bit late.
Michael's marketing.
Michael's marketing. Oh, that's got a thing. We should have like a theme tune for that.
Yeah, get that little horn.
That is what your trumpet is for.
Yeah, or just go.
Yeah.
Michael's marketing order.
That's the two. That's sorted. That's the 2 dB. I'm gonna go get a trumpet set.
There we go.
Slick. Yeah.
Exactly. We hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this show as much as I've enjoyed chatting to you guys today. It's been lovely. It's a hell of a show. Tell us what you think. Let us know. This is still a relatively new concept, and we're always happy to find out where this is good and where we need to work on. Let us know. It's always nice.
Yeah, and if you guys have anything you want us to cover in an episode, we do these Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. UTC. I did not get confused, even though Josh tried his hardest. But yeah, if you have something you'd like us to talk about in the next week's episode or something, we have a Patreon chat over on our Twitter. If you're a member of the Patreon, you can also DM us. You could head over to our Discord, which the link is in the description. Yeah, we'd love to know what you guys think, and if there's, like I said, anything you want us to cover, we're here for it.
And thanks for you guys hanging out in the chat today. It's been
Yeah.
great to see some of you drop by. Lovely bouncing off you, seeing what you think about our shenanigans and our, well, bollocks, essentially. So it's nice.
Yeah.
Some good sense coming from the chat today as well.
Very much so, very much so. You guys keep this show alive, because, I mean, what are we doing here? So it's fun. So, yeah. You guys, we will see you next week. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, always.
As always.
See you
All right,
guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Ciao. Ciao.